Okay, so before we start everything here, in case you didn't know what happened with my SummerSlam review, it was up really late because there was a problem with the rendering and the first edition did not render properly. Basically about 2 or 3 minutes in, it just turned into a giant gray blob on the screen and it wouldn't go away. So I had to go back, I had to re-render, and that took an additional like 2 or 3 hours to get everything back up. So if something like that happens again, I'm basically just going to strip the audio out of this video and see if I could just upload it with the title cards and everything. So hopefully that'll work. Anyway, so yeah, if this suddenly looks weird, that's what happened. Okay, so yes, NXT TakeOver 36, it ended, give or take about a half an hour ago. Overall, I'll get to my thoughts. Obviously, this is we're entering a new transitional period for NXT. It seems that this is no longer Triple H's baby, and that could be a real mixed bag. Although, admittedly, like I've said, the last couple of years, NXT's been kind of a mixed bag for me. So, yeah. Anyway, we did have a kickoff show match to start things off. It was Ridge Holland taking on Trey Baker. Right off the bat, or no, Trey Baxter, my mistake. Trey Baxter. Baxter hit a running drop kick right after the bell rings, but then Holland came back to a suplex. Baxter tried one more time using the ropes to hit an enziguri. He went for a handspring maneuver, but Holland blocked that and hit a headbutt. He then hit a slam of some kind, which I didn't see because I was taking note. So that was for the 3 count and the victory. Yeah, it was a squash match, and yeah, to be honest, this probably could have just waited for the post-TakeOver NXT show on Tuesday because this didn't do anything. I mean, afterwards, Holland got on the mic and called out Timothy Thatcher, but yeah, again, that could have happened on Tuesday. There was really no point to that at all. Excuse me. Anyway, after that, we had the $1 Million Championship match, LA Knight taking on Cameron Grimes. If Grimes loses, then Ted DiBiase becomes LA Knight's butler. This was on the show proper. It kicked everything off right off the bat. Knight would hit a maneuver of some kind. He just spent most of his time playing with the crowd and arguing with DiBiase. Grimes came back, he had a running apron punt, and then he sort of threw Knight between the barricade and the ring steps. At one point, DiBiase assisted Grimes in hitting a running one-legged drop kick. Excuse me. Knight then came back, he blocked a head scissors and hit a powerbomb. He began arguing with DiBiase again, but that allowed Grimes to dodge a Lion Salt attempt. Knight came back, hit kind of a torture rack into a Death Valley Driver type finisher. Grimes hit Grimes blocked a crossbody attempt and hit a follow-away slam. Knight came back, hit a German superplex. Grimes then let's see, he countered a move into a new $1 Million Dream. Knight managed to get to the ropes. He got out of there. At one point, Knight grabbed the belt. He attempted to get the quick DQ, but DiBiase interfered just enough for the ref to get distracted by trying to get the belt away from Grimes, who had picked it up. And that enabled DiBiase to lock on a temporary $1 Million Dream. And then Grimes hit the Shoot the Moon for the 3 count of the victory. So your new $1 Million Champion is Cameron Grimes, who celebrated with Ted DiBiase, who was very humble and began giving out money. So, okay. Overall, this was a pretty decent match. It was really fun. Both these guys are really good workers. I hope to see more of them in the future. I think LA Knight needs to be groomed for a possible North American Championship or even an NXT Championship run. We'll see how that turns out. I probably have to save that for my closing thoughts part. But yeah, it should be entertaining. This was a good match, and I'm ready to see these two move on now, though. After that, we had the NXT Women's Championship match, Raquel Gonzalez versus Dakota Kai. Right off the bat, Kai slapped Gonzalez and then flipped her off. I think camera cut away just at the last second. Kai teased hitting a Yakuza kick to draw Gonzalez out for an attempted lariat, but she dodged it. Kai kicked out of a powerbomb attempt, and then Gonzalez blocked a crossbody and hit a press slam on the turnbuckle. Kai came back, hit the Yakuza kick, and knocked Gonzalez out of the ring. So, you know, it looked like Gonzalez was out, so Kai had to try to pick her up and get her back in, and that took enough time for Gonzalez to recover the kick out of that, too. Kai hit a code breaker through the ropes. Gonzalez came back at a corkscrew Vader bomb. Kai blocked the Chinoga bomb into an armbar. Gonzalez fought out of that and swung, tried to swing Kai headfirst into the turnbuckle. She actually kind of missed a little bit there. Kai came back with a big kick that actually missed. Gonzalez came back, hit a fall-away bomb over the rope, then sent Kai crashing into the ramp. Kai came back, hit a super backstabber. But Gonzalez blocked a second Yakuza kick attempt and hit the Super Chinoga bomb for the 3 count of the victory. So, I guess that ends Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez for now. Don't know if they're ever going to follow back through on it, because almost immediately afterwards, Kaylee Ray, the former NXT UK champion, UK Women's Champion, came out, and it seems she's in NXT now. She stared down Gonzalez. So it appears that's going to be the new challenger. Overall, this match was decent. It was good. But like I said, a little bit of clunkiness in there, some mismaneuvers, some points that probably should have had a bit more impact than they did. I will say this, the Yakuza kick that sent Gonzalez out of the ring, and then Gonzalez hitting the follow-away slam that sent Kai into the entrance ramp really did look very super effective. And again, the high impact maneuvers for the most part worked. Unfortunately, the few bloopers that happened did kind of knock it down a little bit in my book. Up next, it's the NXT UK Championship. Walter taking on Ilya Dragunov. Right off the bat, Walter caught Dragunov and managed to hit him with a couple of chops, and then Dragunov responded. Dragunov blocked a cross body and hit kind of a slam-type sidewalk slam maneuver. Dragunov managed to maintain a headlock through a suplex. Walter came back, he chopped Dragunov into the off of the turnbuckle. Walter then hit his powerbomb on the apron, locked on an STF. Basically, the mode of this match was Walter would hit Dragunov with just about everything, but Dragunov would just somehow keep kicking out, fighting out of every submission hold, not giving up. Dragunov blocked a clothesline into an armbar. Dragunov took another couple of chops. By the end of the match, everything pretty much around his collarbone was black and blue. It was just, it was raw. Dragunov hit a dropkick senton, missile dropkick and a senton. Walter caught him and hit a sleeper dragon suplex. Dragunov came back, he hit his torpedo Moscow. Walter kicked out of that. Walter went for a top rope splash. Dragunov caught him, hit a superplex and followed it up with another missile dropkick. Walter hit a power bomb and went for a sleeper, but Dragunov fought out of that and locked on a sleeper of his own. Walter kind of fought to the ropes. Dragunov hit him in the back of the head a couple of times, locked on the sleeper again, and this just proved to be too much for Walter, who tapped out. So the 731-day championship reign of Walter has come to an end, and Ilya Dragunov is now the czar of NXT UK. The general has fallen, as he said it afterwards. No surprise cameos at the end of this match, but there was a very long celebration sequence. You saw him holding the belt triumphantly twice after that. So, overall, I think this was my match of the night. I think it did a really good job of telling the story. Again, Dragunov, he was so good at playing the victim, and then when he started to rally back, you kind of thought, he could do it, he could do it, he could do it. Each time you thought, okay, the longer this is going, the more it's actually favoring Dragunov. And it worked in that sequence. So yeah, this should be exciting, although I don't know what they're doing with NXT UK and that brand right now, so I guess we'll see. And now we've come to the 2 out of 3 falls match between Kyle O'Reilly and Adam Cole Bebe. The first one is a traditional wrestling match, followed by a street fight, and the third, if necessary, which of course means it is, will be inside a steel cage. So right off the bat, both men landed a couple of big kicks. Cole hit a bicycle kick, Cole hit a bicycle kick and sent O'Reilly out of the ring. He attempted the brainbuster on the steps. O'Reilly fought out of it. Cole blocked an armbar, but O'Reilly maneuvered into an ankle lock. Cole fought back. O'Reilly tried to hit like a cross-body attempt off the top rope. Cole caught him with a super kick, went for the Panama Sunrise, but O'Reilly managed to catch him in the roll-through and rolled him up for the quick 3 count. So, yeah, that first fall was pretty short. And that led into the street fight, which definitely had a lot more spots in it. Cole got a chair out from under the ring, but O'Reilly fought back, set Cole up into the chair, covered him with a garbage can, and hit a flying knee from the apron. Cole kicked O'Reilly off the top turnbuckle. At this point, O'Reilly began selling a rib injury, especially after Cole then threw him rib first into the announce table. O'Reilly tried to avoid a a corner-mounted chair. Yeah, there was a chair mounted in the corner, and O'Reilly tried to slide to avoid it, but he wound up catching the ring post instead. He later wound up crashing into the chair anyway. O'Reilly fought back. He threw Cole off the entrance ramp into the plexiglass that sort of surrounds the stands now in the Capitol Wrestling Center. Cole came back. He threw O'Reilly off the top rope and onto a set of steel chairs, and followed that up with the last shot for their 3 count to earn the second fall. So we go to the third, obviously. And steel cage starts to lower down, but Cole rolls out of the ring, grabs O'Reilly, and powerbombs him on the announce table a couple times. At which point, the wrestler points out that Cole can't win the match with O'Reilly not in the cage. So he had to wait, get O'Reilly back into the cage. And that allowed enough time to recover, so the two fought a little bit more. At one point, Cole managed to produce a couple of handcuffs. He handcuffed O'Reilly to the ring ropes. He hit a couple of super kicks, but when he went for a third, O'Reilly blocked it and locked on a knee bar, and Cole tapped out. So, yeah, the third fall was also rather quick. And I think that was the problem with this match, was the pacing was just all over the place. I think when they originally booked this idea, they wanted it to be the main event, and when they decided to change that, they had to change things around a little bit, so it was not as long and drawn out, and unfortunately that really, really hampered it. The uneven pacing, everything happening so quick. Like, again, you think a 2 out of 3 falls match would have a bit more gravitas and drama in it, and it just didn't. I mean, the only thing, especially when once Cole handcuffed O'Reilly to the ring ropes, you're like, okay, how's O'Reilly going to get out of this? And yes, also, I think you do have to address the prevailing rumor that Adam Cole is not coming back. His contract is done. He's been working without a contract for the last 2 months, I believe. So he's basically been working on I promise I won't go anywhere just yet. So yeah, he could show up in another company tomorrow if he so chooses. Whether he will, it remains to be seen. Again, we keep hearing that Vince McMahon is talking to him, but I think the NXT run is over at least. Whether it's all WWE, I don't know. Cole really, really should be on the main roster at this point. He's done everything in NXT. The O'Reilly feud is over. Bobby Fish unfortunately got released. Roderick Strong's doing his own thing, so we don't need the Undisputed Era. That era is done. His Dungeon Rings. And like I said, I think it's time that Cole moved on, and whether that's again to the main roster or to anywhere else, like where his girlfriend works, who knows? But yeah, so again, not the greatest ending to a feud, unfortunately. And that leads us into our main event, the NXT Championship match. Karrion Kross taking on Samoa Joe. Right off the bat, Kross caught Samoa Joe with a quick kick. The crowd chanted Hardy as Joe drove Kross into the corner. Kross fought out of it. Hit the Doomsday Saito suplex a couple of times. Tried to go for an ankle lock. Joe fought out of it. Hit a Torpe Suicido. Karrion Kross came back, hit an exploder. Joe hit a powerbomb into an STF. Kross came back, he had a big DDT. Joe came back, he had a big belly suplex. Joe locked on the Coquina clutch. Kross fought out of that and locked on the cross jacket. But Joe fought out of that, got in the corner. It looked like Joe got clubbed in the back. Kross hit his clubbing forearm to the back of the head, but Joe managed to get up, caught Kross with an Uranagi, and then followed that up with a muscle buster for the 3 count of the victory. Yeah, this match unfortunately just wasn't very good. And it's not just, again, that Joe's a 3-time champion. It just, what are they planning to do with this? Like, okay, so this is where we have to get into the prevailing backstage stuff, which is Triple H is really no longer in charge of NXT anymore, at least not as much as he'd like to be. The word has come down from the head office that, hey, we need to kind of turn this back more into developmental. We can't just be getting guys from the indies anymore. I do have to wonder if this is because some guys have said they don't want to work on the main roster. They're perfectly happy working in NXT and earning WWE money. Added to that, the fact that, again, NXT was supposed to be this thing to help kind of counter AEW Dynamite, and it didn't really do that, and it got moved to Tuesday, and, you know, the ratings have just kind of held pretty flat, unfortunately, while Dynamite has only succeeded, and now AEW Rampage has come on, so... Again, and added to that now, like I said, with that, like I said, Triple H is kind of losing a bit of his power. They said they want this to be more developmental, and they want less, you know, smaller guys from the indies. They want bigger guys that they want to main event WrestleMania one day, as they said. And it's like, well, the problem is one of the guys you released was Bronson Reed, and I thought that was a guy who probably should have been getting a little bit more of a push. I thought they were actually grooming him to maybe be the one to beat Karrion Kross. I don't know who you have to take on Samoa Joe now, because Kross has kind of moved on to the main roster. I mean, the reason the crowd was chanting Hardy at him because he debuted on the main roster and got pinned by Jeff Hardy. Which, again, like, what are you doing with this brand? I mean, if you want it to be more developmental, that's fine, but at least make the people who graduate look credible, and you don't do that. It seems like, again, the main hands are now seeping over into NXT, and I don't know what it means. It could be good. Like I said, NXT the last 2 years have been kind of a mixed bag. I don't like the fact that we've had main roster retreads as champion. Again, we had guys who I thought were more than worthy. Cameron Grimes, Damian Priest, Bronson Reed. You know, well, not Gargano, because that story has already been told. But again, those, you know, Gargano, Cole, Ciampa, those guys have all been there forever. They should be up on the main roster. Balor shouldn't have come down. I don't like the fact that Joe's come down. I don't, like, it's just, that's all kind of leaving a sour taste in my mouth. And the match itself was just not good. It was clunky. It was very slow paced. It really didn't have a lot of the high impact maneuvers I think everyone wanted it to. I have no idea what this plan is going to be for Joe in the championship. And I don't know if there's any credible threats because, you know, yeah, I know you're probably going to say Kyle O'Reilly, but right now they don't want Kyle O'Reilly. You know, they've already said we don't want small guys. We don't want guys who are under 200 pounds anymore. You know, who are 220. They want guys who are, you know, closer to 250, 260. They want guys who are more than 6 feet tall. So, again, and that leaves the outlier to the exception of Adam Cole, who it does seem has a lot of momentum and, you know, can still work on his own, can still work, you know, in a faction. If he wants to go up and restart a new faction on Raw or SmackDown, that'd be fine. But then again, they just also called up Toni Storm from NXT, and they haven't done anything with her. She was supposed to debut a couple weeks ago, and she didn't. So, again, like, what are you doing with this? You know, if you want to do something with it, do it. And I just don't see them doing that right now. And, you know, overall, this show was really good. I think most of the early matches, like, the women's match was a little clunky too, but not terribly so. Like, it was more just the botches that got in the way of that. But everything else I thought was really good. A lot of the matches told stories, except for the squash match on the kickoff show. But, yeah, like I said, for the most part, the show was really good. And then I think the last two matches just really killed it. Like the pacing and both of them was so wonky. You know, the 2 out of 3 falls really should have been the main event of this because that would have allowed for a longer, more dramatic story, but they didn't want to do that. They wanted the championship match to be last. And unfortunately, I think that just really led everything to a very uneven pacing, and it kind of killed it. So, yeah, it was not a bad show. I'm going to give NXT TakeOver 36 a B. Like I said, it wasn't bad, it was enjoyable, but yeah, I don't know what the future holds right now. Well, I guess I do know a little bit about what the future holds. The next wrestling review is going to be on September 26th for Extreme Rules. After the next video is going to be the recap and review of Candyman, then the random trade review on Bone Volume 1, and then after that it's going to be Shang-Chi. See you all next time. Hey guys, remember to check out my Patreon at patreon.com/SleepyTime for Cat Productions, where you can help me expand my wrestling coverage to stuff beyond WWE, NXT, and the occasional AEW free show.